Good evening, folks. Welcome from the freezing cold basement cellar in the studio. Man, it must be minus something out there, but I'm feeling it down here. But I'm here, I'm hip, and we're ready to go, folks. Tonight we have an awesome guest with us. We have Chris Koppin, who is the afternoon guy at CKDO Radio here in Durham Region. And I've had the pleasure of getting to know Chris over the last few weeks because we've been doing some recording for the upcoming concert to Feed the Need in Durham, which takes place this December 20th on their Facebook page live at 1 p.m. You're going to have to tune in and check that out because it's going to be awesome. Chris is hosting the second half of that show. So before we bring Chris
we have Kiss
Koppin.
on the show tonight.
It must be Chris and the K on the coffin that's doing it. Plus, there must be Kiss on the wall somewhere back there. I don't know. So before we do that and we dive into probably a deep hole of rock and roll, talking about music tonight, because I wanted to talk about Christmas music tonight, but Chris said that was off the list. So
not gonna happen.
So before we dive into all that and we do Mark B's This Week in Music, we are going to start off with the news. First up, we have Loose. Oh, we got to do the music. I always forget this. Live shows.
You got to do the intro.
Oh my goodness! I get so excited. I guess I'm like a little kid every Tuesday night. Though I was almost having a nap before the show. I'm live and wide awake now. Loose pig captured in New York City Park. Second pig is still on the loose. Oh, wasn't there? That's what happens when you defund the pigs. No, was it? What were they doing in New York? I can't remember.
Oh no!
No!
You're getting confused.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'm getting mixed up with the Animals album. Yeah, so
Nice.
so animals play a big role in our news on a Tuesday night, and this I found very interesting. You can go Google this; you'll find the video. I'm not going to play the video, but this Florida golfer shot his ball and it landed on the back of an alligator's tail.
Nice shot.
Yeah, but he didn't shoot it. He elected to try to get the ball off. He did get the ball off, but it was a crock of a shot, I tell you. It was. What? Oh, you didn't like that crock of shot, and it was an alligator, so that was tricky for me. I could have screwed that right up. Alligators are in America, crocodiles are in Africa. There we go. This is interesting. This you could have a lot of fun with this one, and I've left it alone. But the Boy Scouts create COVID-19 hug booth for Texas nursing home. Those Scouts, I tell ya. Wow, of all that controversy of the Boy Scouts over the last few years, I don't know. This is going to come and bite them in the ass.
Insert your own joke there.
This is going to come and bite them for sure. This you're going to regret making this, Boy Scouts. Every Boy Scout club is going to have one of these put into their offices. So moving on from there, it gets better. Man buys 160 tickets for one lottery drawing and wins 160 times.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
well,
How much?
well, he won $800,000.
Okay.
So he won. Yeah, that's kind of sometimes like some of those they say guaranteed to win, like you get a scratch ticket each time. But this guy won $800,000, so good for him.
Not bad.
But 160, that's dedication. I mean, I'm out at 12.
Yeah, I keep saying to myself, I got to get into the ticket game. As I get older, it'll probably pick up. This I really like. This is pretty cool. Secret Santa pays off $65,000 worth of layaway items at Walmart. And I thought this was really good because at Christmas time, there's stuff that people want, but they can't afford it. So I assume they put it on layaway for that reason. But this guy came in and figured, well, if I buy all the stuff that's on layaway, it'll be a great treat for them because they were saving up to get it. So I assume that's how it works. Yeah, layaway.
What if you're in that line, though, and you're like, they do the top 15 and you're number 16? How you feeling when you go to pay your layaway? And you're like, oh, well, Merry Christmas.
That doesn't apply to you. Sorry.
Yeah, you go in the next day. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is.
That sucks.
Oh, and he was anonymous too. Yeah, 65,000. Yeah, nearly six. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that little.
It's awesome.
Good for him.
So Message in bottle travels 2,000 miles from Canada to Scotland. And Scottish couple said they were shocked when a plastic bottle their dog found on the beach turned up to be the message in a bottle that traveled 2,000 miles. Now, I know you want to know what's on the message, so I went ahead and did that. The message reads, "Hi, my name is Kea, and my uncle Kurt," careful how we say that, is writing this letter hoping that someone will pick it up and see how far it will travel. This is the latitude and longitude where he will drop this bottle from a fishing boat. I live in a small community named Reefs Harbor on the northern peninsula of Newfoundland. Northern, wow. That was a Newfoundland. So, and apparently the couple, then they were able to track them back and arrested them for littering. They could have killed a freaking turtle. What are they doing?
That's racing.
Oh my
Yeah, you
God.
imagine that? That'd be my luck. That'd be my luck. Yeah. So speaking, this is great. This is 2020 summed up as festive. A festive display. Portable toilet sing Christmas carols in festive display. People, you're going to have to go Google this one too. I'm not playing it. But in Indiana, Portable Toilet Company shared a festive video of what it calls a world record for the most animated faces on a single holiday light display. Yeah.
I think I've had that nightmare. I'm pretty sure.
I'm sure they were singing in there. And
not all of it was good.
Speaking
Did they flash the
but
Thunderstruck? Is there a program?
This story ties in with the plastic bottle in the water and the lit up outhouses. Festive deer rescued from holiday light entanglement in Colorado.
Oh no. You're kidding.
Yeah, this poor buck got wrapped up in the lights. Yeah, knotted in the
Christmas
antlers.
lights are now banned.
They were even in its mouth and around its neck. Look at that.
Wow.
That's
Are
crazy.
these the recruits for the sleigh? They just
Yeah.
they got them working it now.
And now you know
This
how
guy,
they
he's
got
working on it.
Rudolph. Now you know how Rudolph got that bright, shiny nose. This.
Brother.
Oh, speaking of animals gone array, someone must have thrown their goldfish in the lake, and it grew to about 9 pounds in South Carolina Lake. Look at that thing.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
a beauty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor guy got flushed in here now. He's
Yeah,
huge.
that's it. I wonder what happened to him. I wonder if they... And then, we've had a few world record attempts on the show, and I thought this was another great one. Man uses sword to slice 68 grapes while standing on balance board. I tell you, I wonder if they picked straws to see who was going to do which here. Because, hey, you hold the grape
man.
and I'll chop them. I think the guy who should be I don't think the guy who's chopping should be I think it should be man holds 68 grapes while some guy chops them in
Exactly.
half.
I want to know what they were doing before that.
I don't
You
know.
know, where they
How-
got the shadow back before they went, let's slice some grapes.
Yeah,
with the sword."
yeah.
Great idea.
Nothing starts like from just ground zero here. They had to
Yeah.
evolve to this, but I wonder how the guy 67 was, because 68 is the new world
Yeah.
record. But yeah, so somebody's at home practicing right now. You know that.
Okay, well, let's next week maybe we try and break that record.
And
What do you say?
we're gonna finish off with a couple of art pieces here. This is not showing up for some reason. So
that's
So-
art.
That's art for you. yeah.
okay, yeah. So I don't know what's going on here. So we lost it. So this kind of ruins it for the next one. But this was a picture.
just interpret.
He's
it.
just gonna paint a picture. In
You
our
know
minds.
what? I'm gonna do my best here to see what I can do. Hold on. Let me see if I can do this. Hold on. Let me see if I can do this. Because this is technology. Okay, so we did it.
Did we
We
get
did it. This is technology here. So mysterious sculpture. Now it's not one of those other fancy silver ones we've been showing up, because this is in Toronto. This is what you get in Toronto. You get a mysterious sculpture appears in Toronto Park. It's looks like trees, grass, moss, breasts. If you look at the full picture, you'll see there's some sort of a vagina. There's horns. There's lanterns hanging from the handle. This is some sort of creative art. Now,
art. Yep.
if that's not your thing, this was also found in Toronto too. A giant snow penis was spotted in the Toronto Riverdale Park. So yeah, it's kind of like, hey, some guy probably saw that, and instead of messing around, he just made a big dick in the park, Riverdale.
Yep.
Yeah,
Winter brings out the best in Canadians. It really does.
It kind of
That's awesome.
It kind of it's a new. I think it's called a cock circle. It's
like, dear Lord. They're gonna start popping up.
I need some
all
tea
over
for
the
that.
city.
They're going to be popping up. They're going to be erecting these things everywhere.
Oh.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's the news. Let's bring everybody in, the C-section, and our guest, Chris Koppin. Hey!
Oh boy! Hi everybody.
So yeah, that was it gets yeah, and we did art on the fly. Right? So yeah, welcome, Chris. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to dive into the deep halls of rock and roll tonight, and maybe talk a little hockey
but
too.
Christmas music.
But no Christmas music.
Christmas music. Come on.
Music.
But Chris has got a lovely, shiny Christmas tree behind him, so that's great. He's in the spirit. Yeah, he's in the spirit.
How about that?
Well, you can still be in the spirit, not listen to Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's fire it up there, Mark.
All right.
This week in music.
All right. It's that time again. This week in music. Let's see what we got. On December 10th in 1965, 18-year-old David Bowie recorded Can't Help Thinking About Me at Pye Studios in London, England, which was released as a single under the name David Bowie with the lower third. It became the first David Bowie record to be released in the U.S., as well as the first time the name Bowie appeared as a songwriter's credit. Oh, not too bad. And also on December 10th, 1966, the Beach Boys hit number 1 on the U.S. singles chart with Good Vibrations. The song came about as a young Brian Wilson's mother told him that dogs could pick up vibrations from people, so that a dog would bark at bad vibrations. So Wilson turned that around into good vibrations, and that became a song. Interesting. Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. On December 10th, 1971. It says playing the first of 2 nights, but I have a feeling it was just the one night. At London's Rainbow Theatre in England, Frank Zappa was pushed off the stage by Trevor Howell, a jealous boyfriend of an audience member. Zappa fell onto the concrete-floored orchestra pit, and he suffered serious fractures, head trauma, injuries to his back, leg, and neck, as well as a crushed larynx. That must have been some push. Good Lord. The accident resulted in him having to use a wheelchair for an extended period of time and forcing him off the road for over 6 months. Boy, that guy must have been really jealous. Holy crap.
What, though? Does it say, like, what he
It never said what. I assume he was with his girlfriend or something, and she was probably all...
Or maybe she just loved him. I don't know.
I have
wow.
no idea, but that's
She
not
could
what
have been
you
in
do,
the
people.
front. She could have been in the front row, for sure.
Lord.
I'm sure Zappa actually enjoyed being pushed off the stage at some level.
Probably,
It's
yeah.
Zappa, for God's sakes.
The after effects he probably didn't enjoy, but
Well, fair
at the
enough,
time he
fair
probably loved it.
Yeah, I'm flying, man.
Yeah, this is awesome. No. Let's see. Also on December 10th, 1973, great year, by the way. It's the year I was born.
Oh,
The CBGB Club opened up in New York. Founded by Hilly Crystal. That's not Billy Crystal, that's Hilly Crystal. It was originally intended to feature its namesake musical styles, CBGB standing for country, bluegrass, and blues. But it became a forum for punk and new wave bands such as Blondie, Television, Patti Smith, Talking Heads, Misfits, The Cramps, Joan Jett, and the Ramones are all famous for playing there many, many times.
Good names.
Oh, boy. Gee, a lot happened on December 10th. In 2007, on December 10th, Led Zeppelin played their first concert in 19 years at London's O2 Arena as part of the, I'm going to butcher his name, part of the Ahmet Erdogan tribute concert. I don't know if I pronounced that right.
Actually got that pretty close.
Yeah. Jimmy Page, Robert Plant, John Paul Jones were joined on stage by Jason Bonham, the son of their late drummer John. More than 1 million people took part in a ballot for the 20,000 tickets available for the show, with all proceeds going to the charity. Zeppelin performed 16 songs, and including 2 encores, and a number of celebrities attended the gig, included Dave Grohl, Jeff Beck, Brian May, David Gilmour, The Edge, Peter Gabriel, Mick Jagger, Kate Moss, Naomi Campbell, Jerry Hall, Priscilla Presley, and Paris Hilton, which I find odd, but okay. And out of that came the amazing Celebration Day CD, DVD, Blu-ray, which is, I'm going to put that on later and watch it. Another.
That's going to be in too, by the way. Could you imagine the shenanigans there?
Oh, no kidding. Yeah. Another December 10th. Maybe I just have these all labeled as the wrong date. I don't know, but we have December 10th.
I think that was the longest day of the year, too.
Everything happened on December 10th. In 2008, the Associated Press reported that the U.S. military used loud music to create fear, disorient, and prolong capture shock for prisoners at military detention centers at Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. I remember hearing about this back in 2008. Among the songs blasted 24 hours a day were Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen. Makes sense. Hell's Bells by AC/DC. Okay. White America by Eminem. The theme from Sesame Street. And I Love You from the Barney and Friends TV show. I think that is great. That would be enough to drive anybody nuts.
I would just like to submit that I've been playing Christmas music since November 13th. So
and your little South of Sanity, right?
Bring me Barney. Bring me Barney.
Barney 24/7. It sounds like a good thing. Oh, here we go. December 11th. We've moved on now.
Oh.
In 1971, UK comedian Benny Hill. Everybody remember Benny Hill? He had that's him. He had the #1 song on the UK singles chart with the innuendo-laden novelty song "Ernie, the Fastest Milkman in the West."
Yes, I remember that song.
You remember that?
I know that song. We lived in England then, and Ernie, the fastest milkman in the West. Google it; it's a good one.
It's his only #1 song. And it was the #1 Christmas hit of 1971.
See, you should be playing that on the radio.
Let's take a listen here.
I'm writing it down.
A lady known as Sue. She lived all alone in Lily Lane at number 22. They said she was too good for him. She was haughty, proud and chic.
Yeah, that's it.
But Ernie got his cocoa there 3 times every week.
Oh, boy.
It's brilliant.
Wow, that was #1 in 71 in the UK. That's crazy. The song was actually written in 1955 as an introduction to an unfilmed screenplay about Hill's milkman experiences. I guess he was a milkman before he got into comedy.
Yeah, I think yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Now, jumping to December 14th, in 1969, the Jackson 5 made their first network television appearance in the U.S. when they appeared on The Ed Sullivan Show. And the only reason I'm reading this is because I want to ask you guys, once again, name the Jackson 5.
Oh.
Michael.
Tito.
Jermaine.
Yep.
Randy.
Oh.
No?
This is where we got stuck last time.
Who's the other one? Tito,
Melvin.
Jermaine.
No, it starts with an
close.
L. Wasn't it with an
Marvin.
L? No, L. Wasn't it an L? Why do we always have that?
Let's get stumped on this one.
We do this every week and we don't get it.
That's why I did it again. Okay, it's Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, Marlon, and Michael.
Marlon.
Always get hung up on
Not
Jackie
Tim.
and Marlon.
Tim wasn't one.
Marlon was a
Tim-
big producer.
Let's see here. December 15th, 1944, American big band musician, arranger, composer, and bandleader Glenn Miller was killed when his aircraft disappeared in bad weather over the English Channel while traveling to entertain U.S. troops in France during World War II. Miller was the best-selling recording artist from 1939 to 1943. In just 4 years, Glenn Miller scored 23 #1 hits. That's quite a feat.
Wow.
Miller's recordings include In the Mood, Moonlight Serenade, Pennsylvania 65000, and Chattanooga Choo Choo.
Yeah. And no one wanted anything to do with that music, eh? Like, he was courageous. He created a whole new genre.
Totally.
People thought he was wacko. And now, timeless.
Timeless. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember my uncle. Huge fan.
Yeah.
Glenn Miller. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Great music.
Superior musician, too. That guy had it going on.
Yeah.
Loved
He knew what he was doing. Yeah. He did. Yeah. Sorry. I got one more here. This is my favorite. On December 15th, 1990, Rod Stewart married New Zealand model Rachel Hunter in Beverly Hills. After the wedding, Stewart was quoted as saying, "I found the girl that I want. I won't be putting my banana in anybody else's fruit bowl from now on."
Well,
Good
I don't
for
know
him.
about that. I think, I think he was in a couple other punches after that.
Well, they did because he split in 1999. They split up. So that banana got out of that.
But he's
fruit
been
bowl.
with what's her name? Is it Peggy Lancaster? Peggy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Penny Lancaster.
Penny Lancaster.
Yeah, he's been with her a very long time.
I was
now.
in her fruit bowl, and that's this week in music.
All right, that's
Beautiful.
it.
Where's the outro?
You know,
I don't know. I guess I can play it again. There it is.
There we go.
we pay big money for this outro, so you got to keep playing it.
That's my son.
So
that did
I
that.
just thought that we have to
I
ask.
pay him royalties.
This is a good question. We have to ask Chris the question.
I was going to bring this up.
Oh,
Is
were
this
you?
the question
Okay.
I'm thinking of?
Okay, go ahead. You bring it
No,
up.
you go ahead.
No, you do it. No, I don't want to do it.
No, it's
No,
okay.
you do it.
Okay.
Jesus, ask him the bloody question.
Tim, ask him the question.
I'm afraid of the question now.
We've asked many people this question: who would win in a fight, David Lee Roth or Sammy Hagar?
Oh,
It's like a
that's
knockout, drag down
there's
fight.
two
See, I think Ross a little soft. You know, just a little. But I get the impression that he'd be the clown, where Sammy'd be like, you know what? I'm racked out on tequila. You're pissing me off. Throw it down. You know, he's rock and roll. Love Dave, but Dave's a little glamorous. Likes to be the strutting crow.
You don't think Dave would pull out one of his swords and start doing the...
He's got that kick thing going on too. Let's be honest. I mean, that thing sneaks up on you. You're done
still
for.
doing that.
Oh well.
So
Maybe in his mind more
Tim,
than real life.
how old is Sammy? How old Sammy though? How old Sammy though?
And Davey, he looks terrible.
Didn't we do their
Sammy can
ages?
still shred and get it done too.
yeah.
I put my money
yeah.
on Sammy.
Yeah, Sammy.
Yeah.
But you know
Put
what?
out
A Christmas song too?
Ooh,
Was
Dave?
it Circle? Did the Circle put out a Christmas song?
Did
I'm
they?
not sure.
I saw something because I follow Red Rocker. I thought I saw a Christmas.
Yeah, maybe they did. I don't know. But Sammy is more of a lover than a fighter. But you're right, though. Once he gets some of that tequila in him, then
That's all he does. Him and Guy Fieri, all they do
Well,
with their
yeah.
Santo tequilas.
Yeah.
But I think the point. I think the point was. I mean, you think of David Lee Roth as the guy who was flying around on the stage with the legs up in the air, doing the splits in the air. But if you see him recently at a concert, and remember the Jimmy Kimmel thing where he got the thing.
I was just going to bring that up.
Oh, yeah.
I watched that just recently again, where he got the.
The
Was
mic
it the
stand
mic?
right in the nose?
He got the mic in the face.
Yep.
Oh
What did
my!
they just
God.
duct taped him and out. And
Yeah,
he came
that
back
was
out.
that was hilarious. He looked so
classic.
unawkward there. So
How do I send you a video?
I think Roth is like he's like a pre-9 o'clock guy. Post 9, that's Sammy. You know, like
Yeah.
Roth is already he's done his thing. He's a strong afternoon performer. You know,
Right.
yeah,
Sammy like at 12:30 when the shadow leaves. You know, so he's
Yeah.
I go Sammy.
So a good call, Chris.
Yeah.
And you have to play. It's the Sammy Hagar in the Circle. It's called Santa's Going South. So it's
Writing it down.
It's a new song.
oh, it just came out.
Santa's going south.
Yeah.
It sounds
Beautiful.
positive.
And you can you
Okay.
can listen to that on you might be able to listen to that on Chris's show on Christmas Eve. Was it Christmas Eve?
Christmas Eve extravaganza.
One to
Works
6.
out well.
Ah.
Noon
What
to
time's that
6.
start?
Noon to 6. Noon to 6.
Noon to 6.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll get home just in time for Santa to come in his sleigh. I don't know if Santa can come this year. Actually, what's been funny is seeing the elf people doing the stuff with the elf and people putting the elf in quarantine for 14 days so they didn't have to do anything with it. You put
I
it,
saw a
they
picture
were
of someone
putting
who
it
put
in
it
a
in the
jar
oven
with a
today.
mask
That was
on.
pretty good.
That's
That's
good. You
awesome.
get 2 weeks and not having to deal with that thing.
I would just say, you know what? The elf got COVID. He's
Oh, you
I'm
see
sorry.
that?
It's over.
I've used that
Problem
for
solved.
Santa. I said, sorry, there's no gifts this year.
Yeah, COVID clause.
Yeah, COVID has killed all holidays.
So where are we gonna go with this? Where are we going with the rock and roll? What do you got? What do you got? The song?
There'll be no reindeer. You just play your kids this song.
He can still sing.
Yeah.
Sammy.
Okay, if I play any more, we're gonna get in trouble.
He sounds like David. He sounds like David Lee Roth there a little bit.
Oh, here we go.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
And for those watching, we got a couple of Hab fans up top here, and down below we definitely got a Leaf fan with a hat on. The other one doesn't know who he's cheering for.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't know what team he's on.
You do that to yourself.
The other one doesn't know what team he's on.
I've been saying that for a long time.
Well, we discussed in hockey earlier about when the NHL is starting up in January, so it's
Middle
coming.
of January, yeah.
That's what they say.
You hockey fans, man.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I think it would be good. I think pools like hockey pools will be popular this year. Maybe more, so people at home, you can get involved.
Yeah,
with the
you're
pool.
at home. You're
make
bored,
it a little bit more exciting.
Degenerate gambling is equated with home life.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
I'm not. So, you guys, we should discuss some rock stories. Where do you want to go with this? Do you want to talk about? We were talking about. I think I mentioned this already, but you were talking about the C&E stadium concerts, and Chris, I've mentioned this before, but I thought I'd quickly share it with you. Which who knows, I might have when we got together for the recording because I think it's a good music story. But my parents took me to see the Guess Who when I was 9 because they saw. Well, we came from England. I'm gonna make it short. We came from England, and they went to the C&E for the first time, and they saw a sign that said Guess Who. So they figured it could either be Elvis or Andy Williams. So they bought tickets. True story. So I sat there at the top, at the nosebleeds, at the grandstand, sucking in a whole bunch of pot while I looked at this stage, and after, the only thing I remember about it is a light shining on a guy playing a big grand piano, which later I was to find out that was Burton Cummings. And then after I figured it all out, I went around telling everybody, yeah, well, I've seen Guess Who when I was like 8 or 9 years old.
That's awesome.
Great old pair.
I got a great Burton Cummings story. You got time? You want to hear it?
Yeah.
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 So back in 98, 99, Burton Cummings, I was living and work doing radio in Belleville, and they did the Waterfront Festival every summer. Burton Cummings was the performer, and he was doing a solo act. It was just him and his keyboard, and it was amazing the noise he made, right? But so this is a very popular concert. You get 10, 11, 12,000 people jammed into the Waterfront for these big shows. But Cummings only thought it was like 2,000 or 3,000 people. So it was my job to go and get him and take him up to the stage and introduce him. So I went and I opened the door and I said, Burton, it's time to go. He walks out, he sees the crowd, 10,000 people, turns around, goes back in the trailer, refused to come out till they give him another check. Because he thought it was just a little crowd, and he saw 10,000 people and went, yeah, you can pay me some more. And they ended up giving him 8 cases of beer because they were trying to come up with the money. And they were giving them food from the food truck, and they were all the volunteers throwing $20 because Cummings was the headliner and he was already 20 minutes late. And he's just sitting there going, no, need more money. Anyway, came in and put on an incredible show, but I could first rock star moment for me.
That's awesome.
That's
we never had the opportunity to try that back in the day, did we, guys?
No, we came out
and there was I think the girlfriends and then the other bands were there, and that was it.
No, it was you're not going on until you bring 10 more people.
Yeah, it was the opposite.
Oh, remember those days fighting to get people out to those concerts and stuff? Man,
the Blue Rodeo show was easy.
Yeah, that was all right. They did it all for us. So, Chris, tell these guys about your Neil Peart story. I think that was cool.
Oh, I want to hear Neil.
So this is pretty extraordinary. So my father, long story, mom and dad separated when I was a kid, blah blah blah. But my dad actually grew up in Port Dalhousie with Neil Peart. Why I was still called Peart. It drives my dad crazy. Yeah. So one day, when I was living here in Oshawa, he goes to me, hey, so what are you doing today? And I said, well, and he goes, well, come on down. Let's take a boat out into Lake Ontario. A buddy's coming to mine in his boat, and we'll just hang out for a couple hours. Okay, sure. I get there. It's my dad and Neil Peart. So we went to the middle of Lake Ontario and hung out with Neil Peart for like 6 hours.
Nice.
Just the three of us. And everybody knows how fantastic Peart is. I mean, he's just the most incredible conversationalist. But to be trapped in a sailboat with him, I mean,
is he a storyteller like his books? Like how?
It's incredible, and he doesn't really tell stories with details. It's just the way he tells stories, because he was just such an articulate, intelligent guy. You're just eating it up, right? And I'm not doing this. Hey, don't be a fanboy. Come on, be cool.
And at what stage? Like what period of his life was that? Had he lost his wife and daughter, or where?
Yes.
Okay,
this would have been what, 12 years ago?
Oh wow, okay.
So not at the end, but closer.
Yeah.
He had done his motorcycle stuff.
Yeah.
His back was munched. Like he did so many things. He had heat pads on the boat all the time. It was terrible.
Wow.
Wow. But he was at that point. I think he had reached a point where he was pretty happy being Neil Peart at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And I mean, it was extraordinary. I mean, what a talent. I mean, honest goodness.
That's amazing. Did he air drum at all?
Constantly with his fingers, on everything.
He can't not do it.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my god. I just kept waiting for him to like play the whole galley.
Yeah.
But an extraordinary man, and so giving. I mean, why, right? And he just sat there, and we didn't talk about Rush really.
Right.
We just talked about, I've been a drummer all my life, so he just was giving me tips and stuff. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm getting tips.
You're like, okay, remember this.
Yeah, I don't remember any of it.
Now, was he?
I may have been stroking out.
Was he funny at all? Like, because Alex and Geddy are just so, joyful, funny. Yeah, always teasing each other.
Yeah. And not like fuck you, quit. Like intelligent, quit. Like obscure, like just incredible.
Yeah.
Just like one of those really. I've been lucky to meet some people in my life, and he's just one of the most extraordinary. And I mean, the life he's lived. You want to just get into his brain a little bit, but out of all of that, he became that, and he's the standard. In my opinion, he's the standard.
I think that's one of the phenomenons about being a fan of anyone or anything, like just being somebody, and you see these people and you become so into what they do. You know them so well, and when you meet them, it's like everything about this person that's been exposed, but yet they have no clue, or you're just the next guy coming in. And I've always said the challenge is, if you come face to face with someone like that, the real challenge is for you to create a conversation that they are going to appreciate.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I really loved your last album.
How do
you crack in there and do that? How do you create that conversation? And I think that's the trick for anybody who does meet somebody. You've got that. It's like you've got one shot at it.
Yeah,
right.
You got one shot. Other than that, they're just gonna blow you right off.
But that's meeting someone in an incredible place and scenario. When I've met so many people through working in the music industry, and it's just it's a meet and greet backstage. It's just a typical you don't get any quality time like that. Like, that's incredible.
I'll give you a tip though. You know what? All these musicians backstage, all they want is you just not to be overwhelmed by that situation. You're just you came across a guy at the craft table,
It's funny. I was at BMG, and it was Robert Plant at the amphitheater. What was Mighty Rearranger tour?
Great album.
And we were backstage hanging out, waiting for him, and everyone's gathered in a circle just around the door, waiting for him to come in. And he walks out, and I've like I said, I've met so many people and never really been starstruck. But he came out and he looked around, and at the time I was with a girl that I worked with who was stunning, absolutely stunning. and it took him 2 seconds to come out the door. He saw her. It came right over to us. Didn't talk to me at all. Just talked to Charity. They talked, and he said, what's her name? Oh, it's Charity. Oh, what a lovely name, a unique name. My son, blah blah blah, has a unique. And they just went off, and I just stood there like oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Tell your brother we're going into my trailer for a while.
Yeah. But it was so.
Yeah, you stand outside the door.
2 seconds. 2 seconds.
But the other thing too is though these guys, like everyone thinks they live these. I mean, they live an extraordinary life to a point, but a lot of them are just so normal, like living their lives. Like you think it's like and a lot of times there's a lot of artists out there that you see a lot, but a lot of them don't have as much money as you think they have.
Right. That's right.
Right. So you put them up there. They're struggling. A lot of them are struggling when you see them at a concert. They're trying to make ends meet sometimes, right? They're just like every other business person.
Yeah.
And
totally.
Yeah.
That's why they love that merch table.
The merch table, right? Yeah.
With all the videos of Eddie Van Halen coming out, there was just that Jason Becker video. It's like, my God, this guy was just so incredibly thoughtful, kind, nice that you might never would have known. You hear stories of how much of a pain in the ass the brothers are, and yet here you see this video of what he does for Jason, and it's just like fuck. It's just what an incredible soul.
It's amazing to me how many of these, I'll call them geniuses, they're messy. They're all messy. Like it seems to me that's their catharsis, right? That's how they get to the point B. And I long ago stopped judging them on that, because if that's what you need to do to deliver that kind of a performance, it's going to blow my mind. Then get on the horse, right? Yeah. And that's really sort of changed a lot of the way I deal with people, right? It's the same. You don't know what people are going through, blah, blah, blah. And some people, they just have a process. And rock stars, by their exposure, are just
that's a great point, because there's some people are eccentric, and I just finished listening to the Peter Frampton book, his audio book, and was all over the place. Like his manager was like the mafia. He had no idea where his money was coming from, and even after, he just struggled by all the time putting out records to try to make money. And I mean, geez, you think a guy like that, you go, oh, he must be loaded living in a big house. He talks about moving to Cincinnati and renting a house and buying a house and putting a studio in the basement so he can put out an album. I mean, that's like just the average guy in town doing that, But
pretty much, yeah.
But he's Peter Frampton.
Yeah, look at a guy like Bob Dylan, right? Bob Dylan, the same thing. Bob Dylan, internationally known, but has never really made money. He's had concert tours, he's had some songs, and then last week he sold his entire catalog for $300 million.
Yeah.
So I guess Bob Dylan might be an exception, but these guys, their body of work, especially nowadays, has aged so well. Like Stevie Nicks, another one. Stevie Nicks, for $100 million, just sold everything, including her image. Mostly because they realize they don't have much time left, and why not cash in? But I mean.
And maybe it saves a lot of problems with the family after too. Maybe these guys maybe that's it, to get rid of it before it causes maybe.
Well, $300 million makes me smile.
Yeah, I'm gonna sell all my stuff.
$33.
But I'll have to do it on Marketplace.
Are you doing it auction style, or are you just gonna get flat fee?
Yeah, old mic stand for sale, $5.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think Chris is the same, and you guys are. I love the stories. I love those stories about the musicians and how, many people think it's much bigger than it really is, but you dig deep, you dig down into the gallows, and you find out the real stories. And I remember growing up, I would work with my father in a woodworking shop, and I grew up listening to the radio, AM, FM, and we used to listen to the radio every day. And the only way we could get information on what artists were doing, because we love music so much, but it was listening to the radio and getting the little tidbits that the DJ would say. And that was the only source, other than Teen Beat, magazines or whatever, you could get the dirt. And
you subscribe
other
to Team
than that, well, you know what's funny?
Very important to my presentation on the radio station. You're right; those little tidbits.
Yeah,
huge.
that
well,
and that
true.
was
Yeah,
all we had.
you're
Now
right.
you
That's
Google
all
it, you can find out all this stuff, and you can go and check, and you can get it all. But it was so big to find these little nuggets, and we'd sit there and go, "Oh, really? Wow!" And
I really believe that the problem with the music industry nowadays is there's no liner notes anymore in albums.
Yeah.
Because how many times is that how you learned, right?
That's it. You're right. That's the other thing. Who recorded it and who played on it? Who
they thanked. I used to love seeing who they thanked, right?
Yeah.
And the guest musicians, who
the
produced, who engineered. I used to love all that stuff.
My opinion, I think the younger generation doesn't care.
Yeah.
It's disposable. There's not the same, and I'm not saying they don't appreciate music or love music. I just think it's at a different level of, I don't know. It means
they're getting
different things. Like to us, it was everything.
Yeah.
That's what you did.
They're taught that. They're taught that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But they've got social media. Yeah. They've got social media that's overwhelming them with information. We didn't have any. We didn't have any overload of information. So all our information, you really had to hunt for it. So you got that album. You home when you came home with that album. You read freaking copyright just because it was.
Oh yeah, you read it from top to bottom.
You read the label.
I used to read the label on the record.
You wanted to know who they wrote.
Remember they had the lyrics. You'd be like, "Oh, I got the lyrics."
Got a lyric sheet
or a poster. You get a
freaking
poster.
Deal.
I remember Hotel California. You got that poster. Them all sitting in the room. Oh my God, that was the greatest thing. That was on my wall forever.
But you also sat down and you listened to an album. Yeah. Like I don't know of any kid that, they play a song and maybe halfway through it, they're like, okay, next, whatever's their playlist or, Spotify or whatever. Who sits down and plays a whole album? It's true.
Well, you know what's really interesting with albums right now, and I don't know if anyone else has done this, but Neil Osborne from 5440 just put out an album, America Fly. It's called Niz Wiz. It's a double album. He made 1,000 copies. That's it. And he signed them. He numbered them. He sold them for $99 Canadian. I picked one up, and I absolutely loved listening to it from start to finish on the album. I mean, the music's good. Like, it's not just a novelty. It's a really well-written album, right? And thoroughly enjoyed it. And I thought, this is cool. It reminds me of the day when because anything now, any vinyl you buy, I guarantee you've heard it. Because you listen to it on Spotify or iTunes first, right? And you say, I'll grab it. But this was the first thing I've ever bought in, 20, 30 years that I actually opened, put it on, and never heard it except for a little bit of the first song. And it was like really weird. It was like a really trip back.
One of my favorite conversations to have with artists, if I get to interview them, is I talk to them about the flow of their album, and they'll go on for hours because they obsess over that, right? How one goes into the other. Now, we live in a singles world now, so we're losing some of that. But these album artists, that's a huge part. They want it from get to jump. And they obsess over those sort of things.
Yeah, I was going to bring that exact thing up, that these albums, a lot of them, especially back in the day, were designed to listen to from A to B, and the flow of it and the mood and everything. It takes you on a musical journey in a way.
They were stories.
And it's meant to do that.
Yep.
There's nothing worse than going to Spotify
thrown on a record in a random order.
When you go on Spotify and you go to play your favorite album and you've left it on freaking shuffle. And you hear that second last song on the album and it ruins everything.
Well, my son was playing his MP3 the other day, and the Golden Slumber suite came up from the Beatles, except it was just the Golden Slumbers. The rest of it shuffled off. I was like, you can't do that.
Abbey Road.
Work, right?
Abbey Road on shuffle is like torture.
It's wrong.
Oh yeah, it would be like a lot of Pink Floyd stuff. Like you can't put The Wall on shuffle,
man.
Or if you're just shuffling a whole bunch of music, you just get this little snippet of a Pink Floyd tune that just comes on and off.
Oh
it's
it's like you know what's
albums.
coming. Yeah, the Beatles, like Sgt. Pepper's on shuffle would be a disaster as well.
That doesn't work. But that's how the kids are listening to it all now, right?
Yeah.
It's all about singles, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there's too many concept albums out there these days.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's like some of those songs like Polythene Pen and She Came In Through the Bathroom Window, they have to go together. They're made together. It's like it's like splitting Day in the Life down the middle and playing just one.
It's like listening to oh my God, We Are the Champions without listening to We Will Rock You.
yeah.
Right?
Exactly. It's part
not the same.
Someone played me a 3-minute, 30-minute version of Roundabout by Yes, and I just about slapped them. What are you doing? That's an 8-minute song. Back the beat off. What are you doing 3.5 minutes? I don't care. If that's what your listeners are doing, then you just slap your listeners.
Yeah.
You don't do that to something like that. These are epics. They're journeys.
I hate it especially when they, I don't know how popular it is today, but when they used to edit a song for the single, when they would put out it like a 7-inch single, or for airplay, they would. It's too long. It's too long. We have to edit the song and cut out a verse here and all that. It's like, don't do that. I don't understand how.
So here's one. Back in the day, the I guess Stairway to Heaven was a long song, but some of those long songs that came out that were amazing. I'm trying to think. Hotel California would have been a long play song.
But that was really the beginning of artists saying, you know what, screw you, I'm going to do my art.
What I want.
Right,
exactly.
I'm going to do it, yeah.
Look at Queen, right? Queen, they were basically told to stop, and they said, screw you. And they put out these epic rock operas, and it didn't make them money for years, but they stuck to it. Zeppelin,
they did what they wanted
isn't going to compromise a song like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and
Pink Floyd in the 70s when they put out like Adam Hart Mother. I mean, the first whole side is that Adam Hart Mother suite. You can't chop that up or Echoes, which is what? That's another whole side. I mean,
I haven't heard that in a while.
Oh,
that'd be great.
Yeah, it is true. It's amazing what they did, and I don't know if anyone's doing it today, or there's no demand for it, so there's no point. I guess now it's the record company runs these guys so much.
Well, you know what? It does exist. It's just that you have to go find it now. Where before you were exposed to it.
You're absolutely right.
It does still exist, but it's way up.
But you're not finding it on the mainstream platform like you did back. Like Hotel California was. Again, you got to listen to Hotel California from start to finish, in my eyes, because you want all those songs and right down to the end. But
I think you're giving the record companies too much credit nowadays, Mark. They're pretty non-existent. For the most part, it's all artist driven. People are recording their stuff in their house.
You can record on GarageBand and do
exactly.
whatever.
But do you think though? Okay, so here's the thing: if you're an artist today and you're trying to make it, you're not writing an album. Because there's no time.
You're writing a single.
Because you've got to get a song out there because you need to punch. There's no time to write those, dark songs or those really personal songs thrown in the middle, but they go so well. I mean, I don't think, because there's no market for it, people just gave up on it and it's not there anymore, that kind of writing. But I think it's missed because people still listen. The kids even today still listen to those old albums. But there's just no demand for it.
You know what it is, though? See, the problem is the record industry has still not recovered from Napster. They have still not completely embraced social media. And what finally happened is, like, you guys know, you can create a studio in your home now really good for like $1,500.
Totally.
And they're saying, if you're going to sit there and dither on this stuff and not, do this formula and that formula, I'm going to record this myself. And then the record companies at that point should be saying, okay, well, the collaboration then is we have the platform to market and move, and here's how we're going to do it. And they're doing it from 1992 still.
Right.
Like they just, I don't understand why they've let this industry die like this.
Yeah.
Because they've lost control of it.
But I don't think they know what to do with it. I think it's just out of control. I don't think there's so much music now. Because like you said, $1,500 gets you a studio. So depending on
should have been doing this decades ago,
yes.
like working with working with these
instead of working against.
Exactly. Instead of saying, screw you, this is ours, and it's just
and we'll tell you what we're going to do.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean,
fat cats, just
corporate greed, right?
Yeah, but exactly. how can you make all the music that's the amount of music that's out there now with all the different genres that are available? There's so much music. How can it be profitable? That's the problem. There's more music, I think, than there is. Like, it's almost saturated.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that.
No.
I think you just have access to it. That's all.
Thank you. That's what it is.
The music has always been there. It's just you can go on a radio station from freaking Uganda or wherever there's access to all of that, which we never had. That's all.
Right.
I think.
Right. And now it's all available online. It's all there.
It is.
And it could just but everything just kind of gets lost, and
but the problem is though it's making a living off it. That's what I'm saying. Like it's so saturated. Like how if you've got there's so much music, and I agree it's fantastic. But when there's so much music, are you going to go out and pay $40 for every album? Like in the old days, we had to buy the album. There was no other way around it. You listen to the radio or you bought the album, the artist made the money or the record company made the money, and that was it. That was it. That was the way it was. Up until, like Chris says, Napster came along and changed everything.
Yeah.
And then it started to, then technology allowed, home recordings and everything like that. Then all of a sudden we got so much music. Like, oh man, there's way more music than when we were listening to it back in the 70s. So that's the problem. But that's the problem. So much is available, which is great for the listener, but sucks for the artist, because how do they now get through to make a living off it? I think that's the problem.
Your so-called competition has, skyrocketed.
It's everywhere.
Everybody is all in one place, which is online now.
And what the majors do now, you've probably noticed over the last couple of years, when you buy a concert ticket, you get the download of the album now.
Yep.
Right.
Because the argument always was, and it still is, if you really want to support your artist, you go see them live, because we mentioned the merch table earlier, right? So what the record companies have done is, instead of solving that problem, now they're taking the albums away from them. And they're saying, well, no, this is the next level of control. We're going to charge that $150 ticket. So we're going to give them the digital download of your album, and you'll get $275 from that. Or it'll be in your breakage fees, which is an antiquated thing. So now they're taking that away because they're too lazy to do what needs to be done to support these things and make people like us who just want to hear the damn music easier to get it that way.
Right.
They've screwed it up so bad.
And then you throw a pandemic in there.
I'm so bitter.
but then you throw a pandemic in. The pandemic's made it even worse. It's just like, it's just like any hope they had as an artist has been flushed, really, to like the hopes and dreams and stuff. And I don't know. I really, to think of a way to solve this problem, unless you can have membership. And I mean, like I said, that album I was talking about, the one that Neil Osborne did, I thought it was a wonderful idea. But it's risky, but he's put a lot of money into it. It's well recorded. But again, 1,000 copies at $100. I think it was $100 American, actually. So, but you're supporting something. So I think if you had let's say, for example, I don't know, pick an artist, whatever. Let's say Pink Floyd was coming out with an album. Let's say Pink Floyd had an album coming out, and they said, okay, guys, here's how we're going to release an album. We're not going to release it on any platform. We're going to release the album. It goes on sale on January the 21st. We're not going to release a single. The album is there for sale. I wish someone would try that. Big, someone huge. So the only way you can buy it now, obviously, you got to have vinyl. So that ruins it probably. It can't work. So how could you release something that you got to pre-buy before you can hear it? So it'd be like the old days.
In Excess, great example of this. What they've done is they've taken crowdfunding to a different level. They say, okay, we want to make an album, buy a share in the album. Which is what they're doing with their new material right now, right? And I don't know how the math works. You get so much from that. But what they're doing is they're allowing their fans to dictate how that band moves forward, taking it out of the hands of the record company. I'm sure it's confusing as heck buying shares in a band, but you know, that's groups guerrilla marketing themselves and figuring it out, right? Even a band like In Excess, which is globally has profile, right? So they can take advantage of that a little bit, but I think you're going to see things like that start moving a lot.
Well, I think the first one to really start, what was her name? Were we talking? I don't know if we were talking about it. I was talking to someone the other day about it. Was Palmer? Is it Sarah Palmer? The one who did? She
Harmer.
No, not Sarah Harmer. It was Palmer from the U.S. She did when she did her album. She was the first one who crowdfunded. And she did a crowdfunding because the record company was screwing her over, and she ended up getting like $1 million for her next album. And she would couch surf through America on tour. So she'd be on Twitter saying, "Hey, I'm going to be in so and so town tomorrow. I'm doing a concert. Who's got a couch I can have?" And she would stay there. They would feed her and all that kind of stuff. And her name was Palma. Can't remember. But
I remember you talking about those once before. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. But I talked to somebody, or someone brought it up to me the other day, was talking to me about it. And I found it, it reminded me of that. She was innovation. But some people are doing another thing where they say, okay, we're going to put out an album. You can pay $500 and you get your name in the cover. You get to do something in the album, or you get we'll write a song for you at a certain level. So they do all these things. You get a little something, so they're able to raise that $5,000 to $10,000 they need by offering things to their fans, which again is another way to do it. But again, you've got that closed group, right? You got your fans. You got to have that fan base first.
If you have a fan base,
exactly.
like Public Image Limited, when they got screwed over by, I think it was Virgin Records, it is a great story. But what they did is they did a tour. It was how many years before they could even be a band anymore. There's so many legal shit with that story, but they did a massive tour, and they funded their new record all independently from that tour, and it that's the way they did it because they had such a fan base. It was great. I mean, and a great album came out of it too. And I believe John Lydon did. I think he did butter commercials or something too in the UK to raise extra money for it too. So you do what you do, but they got the money from the fans. That fan base helped them keep going, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just hope people buy into some of this. I think as streaming gets better quality, people can better quality cameras and stuff for these shows. I mean, you see stuff on CBC live stream or whatever, and it's obviously they're using CBC camera equipment and it's massive and it's great quality. But I've seen some good shows. People have done some great stuff. So as technology gets better, I mean, we have great podcasting stuff, but I think the video live streaming side of things has to come up a notch, but when it does, it might allow bands to do shows where good concerts and stuff like that. It might be another market. I mean, it's harder with COVID for sure, but I think there's people that might still try to do this after when the COVID thing dies down because it might play to their advantage if they can figure it out.
Next 10 years are going to be really interesting in how music and entertainment is presented because we're just on the cusp of the tech that we can use here for these things. It'll be a completely an individual experience, which I'm a little worried about because I think the greatest thing in the world is being inside of a concert when the band and the crowd and the room are just on point, and that feeling is. But there's no doubt that those are going to be few and far between. But it becomes about money, right? And this is how they're going to have to make their money now.
Of course. And we're at the point now where it's the turn because of the situation the world is in. This is the way it has to start going. Some bands have already done it. They're not, not performing live or whatever, but they are taking previously recorded concerts and they haven't been shown before or whatever. And they're saying, for $20 you buy a link to click on and you can watch it, and it's available. I know Pearl Jam has done it. And I think Metallica did one or they're about to do one. I can't remember, but I mean, that's the way it's going. But until they can figure out how they can get them all together, who's doing that show at the El Macombo or recently? He's performing. Is it Gordon Lightfoot?
Yeah, Gordon
he's
Lightfoot.
performing, and they're going to broadcast it, and you buy a ticket, like a virtual ticket or whatever, and you can watch it live as they broadcast it. I think I might have passed already. I can't remember.
Well,
I think if they get some of these,
and not being in front of a crowd, that's
you feed off that energy,
right?
And
that's
if you don't have that energy, it's got to be so strange.
Oh.
I mean, I know we all know what it's like to play to nobody, but I mean, but when you get to a certain level of or whatever, you depend on that crowd, that energy.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, who knows?
But the scary thing, it's not just music that's gonna have to change its model. Look at the movie industry. Like, everything is totally.
Well, they were in trouble beforehand, anyways, with high definition TVs and all this kind of stuff.
Well, but not to the same extent. You're talking about platform. There will be no major releases. Like it will all just go straight to streaming. It's their whole model is changing,
Yeah. And again, it's, because what you're going to see moving forward is they're not going to control how we watch this anymore. I think people have decided, you know what, you've screwed this up so badly and you do not come into my habits at all. Yeah. Now I'm going to go do it myself. Yeah. Yeah. And they have no one to blame but themselves for this. Right. Yeah. They really don't.
And we've a lot of people have basically gone cold turkey here with this COVID thing. They've been pulled away from restaurants. They've been pulled away from nightclubs. They've been pulled away from that type of stuff that a lot of people did just because they were doing it. It was a continuation of something they were doing before. And I've done a big turn with going out to eat. Right now, I think if they opened up and said, "Oh, restaurants are back open," I don't need to go back out to the restaurants as much as I used to because I've got away from it. I got into it and I'm out of it. So that's the sad part about it. But the thing is, I think society needed that. We were disposing too much income. We were all running, right? The thing is that the more you spend, the more they'll give you. And then you create this monster where we've got then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, but the restaurants, if we don't go to the restaurants, then they're going to suffer." Well, they shouldn't have been there in the first place, half of those restaurants, because we just kept eating and eating and eating and eating and going out and going out when we really should have been saving that $200 and paying off the Visa instead of going out and putting the $200 on the Visa just to get a meal that we really didn't need. That's the society we've created. So this is the backlash and the fallout now that we're experiencing. And unfortunately, some people are at the end of it where they're the ones who have that restaurant or have that concert hall or something like that. Like these concert halls were suffering before COVID.
Oh, yeah. I would say some of them were suffering pretty hard.
Like a bar that some of these small bars, I mean, that were, paying a band $100 to play in and they get like 30, 40 people show up and they sell a few beers, they sell a few wings. Like it's a tough gig. And then even they need a good day to kind of break even. And there's been no good days for them to break even now. So it's so sad.
Not at all. Yeah.
And it's really tough.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But people will still listen to the radio, Chris.
Right.
Because they need their
radio's not going anywhere.
They need their Christmas music.
Oh, since November 13th, did I mention that?
Yeah. So we want
to start earlier.
We're gonna finish up here, and we just want to give a shout out to Feed the Need concert in Durham that's coming up December 20th. The two guys below will be playing on there. Chris will be hosting the second half, and I'll be the guy sitting at home on my computer praying to some God out there that the streaming goes all well.
So if anything goes wrong,
blame this guy.
Tune in here next week. And
I will be on the first plane to Uganda if it goes south. It'll be hip to get out of town for me if everything goes south. There'll be people looking for my head. So I got a busy few days. The last it's been a big project, but it's coming together. So that's it. And also on Christmas Eve, Chris will be playing his favorite Christmas songs from 12 to 6. on
noon to 6.
CKDO.
It's a blast.
It'll be good.
And we've also we're talking to a couple of soldiers from Oshawa that are posted overseas this Christmas too.
Oh, nice.
So we're going to bring their stories home. We've got Kim Mitchell, Sass Jordan, Murray McLaughlin, and someone else who's just escaped, all doing Christmas greetings this year.
Oh, nice. Awesome. Good
so
stuff.
It's going to be a really great show.
Good stuff. Excellent stuff. And we will be back next week on December the 22nd. If all goes well on the 20th, I'll be on the show. If not, you'll have to go find me somewhere. I'll be like Snowden. I'll be over in Russia doing the show. Anyways, guys, thanks so much again, Chris. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure getting to know you in the last few weeks.
What a pleasure, boys. Thank you. What a
it's great. It's great to chat with you.
Take care, guys.
So we are going to finish her up here. I have to find a screen to get out of here. Thank you so much, guys. And remember, hiptogive.org. Go give some money for the people in Uganda. And I can't find the end, so for some reason, here I am. I can't even put an hour show together, and I got to do 4.5 on Sunday.
It's time for the after
Ladies
show
and gentlemen, thank you so much.